The Rice Riot, April 14th, 1979. The day Liberia's heart broke. The spark was rice, the government's decision to increase the price from $22 to $26 per 100-pound bag was not just an economic policy. It was a moral insult. PAL called for a peaceful protest. The powers that be drew battle lines. Maxwell was on duty at BTC that morning, standing at the gate with other young soldiers. They were tense, but not afraid. They expected chance, maybe some pushing, maybe some stones. They did not expect what came next. The crowd was massive. Students, market women, dock workers, teachers, children. They marched with placards and hope. Maxwell felt something swell in his chest. This was the Liberia he believed in, a people demanding dignity. Then the security forces arrived. Not the army and not the men Maxwell trained with, but the Liberia National Police, the Special Security Service, SSS, party militias loyal to the true Whig Party, and Guinean soldiers flown in quietly through a security pact between Tolbert and Sekou Touré. Maxwell watched in disbelief as Guinean troops took positions on rooftops. He whispered to a fellow soldier, "What are Guineans doing here?" The soldier shook his head. "I don't know, but this thing big." Then the order came, not from the AFL, not from BTC, but from the Civilian Security Command. Disperse the crowd. Use lethal force if necessary. Maxwell felt his stomach drop. The police moved first, batons swinging, then the SSS gun firing tear gas. There were men in plain clothes firing live rounds, then the Guineans firing into the crowd with terrifying precision. Maxwell froze. He saw a woman fall, clutching her child. He saw a student shot in the back as he ran. He saw bodies piling on the pavement. He saw blood pooling in the gutters. He did not fire. He could not. He stood there, rifle trembling in his hands, watching his country tear itself apart. By the end of the day, hundreds were dead. The government lied about the numbers. But Maxwell saw the truth. He helped carry the bodies, and he helped bury them. In a mass grave on Gurley Street. So close to BTC that the smell of fresh earth haunted him for weeks. That night he vomited behind the barracks, and he could not sleep, he could not pray, he could not forget. The vow he made as a child to protect felt like a cruel joke. The post-stockade, where truth was imprisoned. The PAL leaders were arrested and thrown into the post-stockade, the military prison inside BTC. Maxwell saw them through the bars. Bacchus Matthews, bruised but unbroken. Oscar Quaya, eyes blazing with defiance. D. Carn Kaler, calm, dignified, unshaken. They were not criminals, they were prophets. One evening, while delivering water, Bacchus Matthews looked at Maxwell and said, "Young soldier, do you know why they fear us?" Maxwell swallowed. "No, sir, because we speak the truth, and truth is the only thing that can break a corrupt system." Maxwell felt something ignite inside him, a spark, a seed, a prophecy. The coup, April 12th, 1980, 2 days before the anniversary of the Rice Riot. The storm broke before dawn. Gunfire, shouting, chaos. Maxwell grabbed his rifle and ran outside. He saw soldiers, not police, not SSS, and soldiers moving with purpose. He saw Kwaiwankpa, his friend, his brother, leading a group toward the executive mansion. "Maxwell!" Kwaiwankpa shouted. "Come!" Maxwell hesitated. "Is this a coup?" Kwaiwankpa's eyes burned. "This is justice." Maxwell followed. The fighting was brief but brutal. By sunrise, President William R. Tolbert was dead. The true Whig Party's century-long rule had ended. Liberia had changed forever. The junta, the People's Redemption Council. A military junta was formed made up of 17 enlisted men from the rank and file of the armed forces of Liberia. Master Sergeant Samuel Canyon Doe, A Cron man from Grand Gede County became head of state. His deputy was Thomas Waysayan of Sino County of the Kru ethnic group. Thomas Kwiwonkpa became commanding general. He was from Nimba County. In short, native sons of Liberia were aligning to control the destiny of the nation for the first time since its independence. Maxwell watched as his friend, the man who once whispered about destiny in the barracks, stood at the center of national power. He felt pride. He felt fear. He felt the weight of history pressing down on all of them. Mat to mattress. Maxwell's rise. Some of Tolbert's key political slogans were total involvement for higher heights and from mat to mattress. They captioned policies meant to improve the lives of ordinary Liberians, at least on paper. It was ironic that he needed to die for it to materialize for the lowly soldiers and their families. The new government was a marriage of the progressive political hot brands and the soldiers. They issued their own plethora of slogans, always punctuated with, "In the cause of the people, the struggle continues." Maxwell, who had slept on mats most of his life, was suddenly lifted into a world he had never imagined. Kwiwonkpa summoned him. "You have discipline," he said. "You have loyalty. You have a good head." Maxwell stood at attention. "You will serve the people better in government than in the barracks." Maxwell blinked. "Sir, you are now Assistant Minister of Commerce." Maxwell felt the world tilt. Assistant Minister. A boy from Saclope. A boy who walked to Sanakeli. A boy who slept behind a tailor shop. A boy who once went hungry, and he felt dizzy. "Sir, I don't know anything about being a minister." Kwiwonkpa smiled. "None of us knew anything about being leaders. But we are learning. And you will learn too." Maxwell nodded. "Yes, sir." The move to Sinker. Maxwell and Teresa, now married, moved from the slum in Say town to a modest but comfortable house on Sinkor Old Road. Teresa cried the first night they slept in their new home. Not because as a person she was not accustomed to some its comforts, but her life with a lowly soldier had been a tough one. She was relieved to finally be free from the torment and embarrassment of shared toilets and open bathrooms in the slums of Saye Town and Jala Town. She held Maxwell's hand. "Promise me," she whispered, "that you will not lose yourself." Maxwell kissed her forehead. I won't." But deep inside he felt the river pulling him again. The river of violence, the river of ambition, the river of destiny. And he did not know how to swim against it. Next in the series is episode 4, in which Samuel Doe's thirst for power pits him against his colleagues, anyone else he perceived as threat, in a web of killings that set the pace for the most devastating moments in Liberian history. Subscribe, like, comment to support the series.